Man, the build-up for this matchup has been getting louder by the day, and there is plenty to unpack before these two step on the field. The buzz around the Eagles this week comical, with a little relief, because seeing Cam Jurgens back out there, finally moving around after dealing with that concussion, gave everyone a bit of hope. When an offensive lineman misses time, especially one who anchors the interior like he does, it throws the entire rhythm off. And this unit has been fighting that same battle since opening week, with only one game all season where the original five actually took every snap together. No wonder things have looked clunky at times. The run game gets stuck, the pass protection springs a leak here and there, and suddenly the offense starts looking like it's searching for its own identity. But watching Jurgens running those individual drills, even listed as limited, at least shows that he's close to clearing protocol. For a team desperate to get at least a shred of continuity back in the trenches, that's the kind of development that matters. The problem is that just as one piece starts trending upward, another falls away. Lane Johnson's still stuck on the sideline dealing with that foot, and anytime a big man has something nagging down there, you know the coaching staff is going to be cautious. That injury can linger, and the last thing anyone wants is forcing him back prematurely. He has been the most reliable bookend in football for years, and losing someone like that shifts the entire structure of the line. It affects how the quarterback feels in the pocket, how the run game develops, how the play caller designs protections. Everything becomes a little heavier, a little more predictable. So while Jurgens getting closer is great, there's still a lot of uncertainty about when the line will finally return to full strength. At least the rest of the roster had some encouraging signs. Jalen Phillips was able to go full after dealing with that shoulder. Willie Lampkin got in there despite the knee and ankle bothering him. Miles Hinton, fresh off the practice window opening, jumped right back to full activity. All of that matters because this matchup against Dallas is going to be decided right in the middle of the field. People always talk about the flashy plays outside, the receivers, the corners, the quarterbacks dueling, but this is one of those weeks where the interior is going to have more impact than anything happening on the perimeter. And Dallas has been feeding that storyline with the kind of move that sends shockwaves across the league. Bringing in a defensive tackle like Quinnen Williams, a guy who is already one of the strongest, most disruptive players in the league, adds a whole new problem for every offense they face. His debut with Dallas came after both teams involved had time off, so he walked into that game fresh. And even though the Raiders' interior line isn't exactly a powerhouse, he tore through them like he never missed a step. A sack and a half, constant pressure, winning rep after rep, and reminding everyone why he was considered one of the elite run defenders the past few seasons. Watching the broadcast cut to the owner's box while he celebrated that first sack, it made perfect sense. If you trade that kind of draft capital, you expect instant payoff, and he delivered. The Eagles now staring at a Cowboys rotation that includes Williams, Kenny Clark, and Osa Odigizua means the challenge for Philadelphia's interior just doubled. Clark has been a more effective pass rusher this year than some expected. Odigizua has had highs and lows, but when he's on, he's explosive. So if the Eagles' line comes out slow or sloppy, this game can swing in a hurry. The kind of pressure up the middle throws everything off rhythm. It forces quick decisions. It forces uncomfortable throws. It turns run plays into scrambles before the ball even exchanges hands. Everything about this Dallas group screams disruption, and that's exactly what the Eagles' offense has struggled with all season. Dallas isn't walking in unscathed, though. Their injury report has been a little messy. Dak Prescott dealing with a hip issue surprised a lot of people because it popped up midweek. But the word coming out of their building is that he should still be good to go. That list behind him, though, has some important names. Jadeveon Clowney battling shoulder and neck concerns. Dante Fowler with a shoulder problem. Malik Hooker's toe acting up. Tyler Smith managing knee. Solomon Thomas with a calf issue. Donovan Wilson banged up in multiple places. And Perrion Winfrey dealing with a back issue. It's a lot to monitor. And with Prescott specifically, every small injury matters because he has had stretches the last few seasons where those tweaks add up and affect his play. But when he's healthy, especially against Philadelphia, he has been a problem. And that's the thing Eagles fans hate to admit, but absolutely know is true. Prescott has played some of his best ball when the opponent has an eagle on the helmet. This season he's been sharp, completing just under 70% of his passes, sitting just shy of 2,600 yards heading into the 12th week, with 21 touchdowns and 6 picks. A quarterback rating north of 100 doesn't lie. And now, with a new play caller, finally calling plays rather than just holding the title, he looks comfortable, decisive, like someone who's finally found a rhythm again. The numbers at home against Philadelphia back that up, too. Only one loss in 7 games, nearly 285 yards per outing, 14 touchdowns in those matchups. The Eagles have picked him off a handful of times, but it hasn't stopped him from putting up production. And it's not just a Philly thing. Prescott has racked up wins across the division for years, and no matter how much Eagles fans love to remind Cowboys fans about championship droughts, the truth is that this quarterback has delivered more wins in the NFC East than just about anyone over the last decade. That alone makes him dangerous, because confidence in a rivalry game is a weapon. Even the stat about Dallas not losing a home game to an NFC East opponent with Prescott healthy since late 2017 shows how deep that dominance has run. That was so long ago that the Eagles were still riding that magical season with Doug Peterson and the quarterback duo that turned into one of the wildest stories in league history. But nothing, absolutely nothing, felt more Cowboys than the news that dropped after their game on Monday night. The moment people realized why CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens weren't out there when the offense opened that game, the social media explosion was instant. Turns out the two stayed out late, missed curfew, and admitted to having drinks the night before the game. Lamb insisted he wasn't the one throwing up in the casino, called the rumor disrespectful, said he can hold his liquor, but the team wasn't having it. They benched them to start the game, and honestly, it felt like a throwback to the 90s, when that team always had something wild going on off the field. Now, all that noise only adds to the rivalry energy building this week, and you could feel the entire fan base buzzing the moment those stories surfaced. This is one of those matchups that always feels heavy, always feels personal, and every little piece of drama just turns up the volume another notch. And with so much being said about this Eagles offense right now, the fire around it has only gotten hotter. That report floating around the league about some people in the building being unhappy with Jalen Hurts had everyone talking. But anyone who has watched this team the past few years knows exactly why it hasn't snowballed into something bigger. Hurts isn't just the quarterback. He's the steadying force, the temperature setter, the guy who can walk into a room full of noise, block it out, and keep everyone focused. And without that kind of presence, a lot of teams would have started cracking by now. The criticism itself isn't surprising. When you're the quarterback of a franchise with championship expectations, playing in one of the loudest media markets in sports, every stumble becomes a headline. And with an offense that returned 10 of 11 starters from last year's Super Bowl team, everyone expected fireworks from day one. But instead, this offense has been stuck in the middle of the pack, trying to find something that clicks. The run game hasn't looked like itself, sitting near the bottom in yards per carry. The passing game has been conservative, one of the lowest volume attacks in the league. And even though the overall efficiency sits smack in the middle of the rankings, it's been clear that the group hasn't tapped into its potential. Yet the one thing that hasn't changed, no matter who the coordinator is, no matter the opponent, no matter the injuries, is the philosophy between the head coach and the quarterback. They believe in playing clean. They believe in limiting mistakes. They believe in controlling the turnover battle. And as boring as that can look on film, as vanilla as the offense can feel at times, it is impossible to argue with the results. Since the coach arrived in 2021, winning has followed. 9 wins in that first year, 14 in the second, 11 in the third, 14 again in the fourth. Now sitting at 8-2 in year 5. That is not an accident. When this team keeps the football protected, they're almost impossible to beat. 40 wins, and just 2 losses when they win the turnover battle. And Hurts, since stepping into his role as the full-time starter, has guided this team to 51 wins in 55 games when they avoid giving the ball away. That's why sometimes the highlight culture of today misses the bigger picture. Sure, other quarterbacks might have the splash plays, the viral clips, the off-platform circus throws. But when you look at what Hurts is actually doing this season, the efficiency and decision-making are elite. Top tier in yards per attempt, air yards, true passer rating, QBR, deep ball completion, pressure time accuracy. He has improved against zone coverage and remained lethal versus man. 23 touchdowns with just 2 turnovers tells you everything about how he values each possession. And if the offense can just elevate a little, find a spark, rediscover some explosiveness, the conversation shifts instantly because the foundation is already strong. And that is where the spotlight shifts right back onto the coaching staff, because the entire city has been waiting for this offense to finally take that next step. People know the pieces are there. People know the roster didn't suddenly forget how to play football. What they want to see is some urgency, some creativity, something that reminds everyone of what this group looked like during those dominant stretches the past couple of seasons. That's part of why the chatter around Hurts picked up so much steam. When you have receivers who can break a game open on any snap and running backs capable of flipping field position with one lane, fans expect fireworks. But football is a rhythm sport, and this offense has looked like a band that never gets to rehearse with a full ensemble. One guy heals up, another goes down. One area settles in, another starts leaking. So each week turns into a search for balance instead of a chase for dominance. You can feel the tension between what people want to see and what this team has chosen to be. And what they have chosen is a methodical, protective approach built to outlast opponents instead of outgunning them. Some folks hate it because it doesn't always produce those high-scoring, highlight-heavy performances. But it wins, and the players have bought into that identity, even when it leads to frustrating stretches where the offense sputters or leaves points on the field. That's part of the reason the locker room hasn't fractured under pressure. The message has been consistent. The expectations have been clear. And the leaders in that room have never let small storms turn into hurricanes. Hurts, especially, handles negativity with the kind of calm that defuses situations before they even get started. He knows that once you put on that helmet in this city, your name is going to be on the front page anytime something goes wrong. It comes with the territory. But here's the thing, quiet leadership alone won't fix the issues on the field. And everybody inside that building understands they need to tighten up the execution if they want to control the postseason narrative instead of being pulled into it. Receivers have talked about needing crisper timing. Linemen have talked about needing more consistency in their assignments. Coaches have admitted they need better sequencing, better adjustments, cleaner communication. Every offensive unit goes through stretches like this, but what separates contenders from pretenders is whether they can iron out the details when the pressure rises. And the pressure is absolutely rising now. The schedule gets tougher. The injuries pile up. The margin for error shrinks. It's the point in the season where every team is banged up and every snap matters. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The rivalry between the Cowboys and the Eagles has never been short on drama, but recent comments from Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer have stirred the pot to a whole new level. In a pre-game press conference that has already set social media alight, Schottenheimer didn't hold back when discussing the Eagles, leaving many fans questioning his strategy and his diplomacy. According to sources in the locker room, Schottenheimer's remarks were pointed, dismissive, and some would say unnecessarily provocative. He reportedly criticized the Eagles' offensive schemes, questioned their coaching decisions, and even suggested that their recent successes were overblown. While some analysts are calling it classic mind games ahead of a major rivalry matchup, others see it as a risky move that could backfire spectacularly. The backlash from the Eagles fan base was swift. Social media feeds exploded with reactions ranging from mockery to outrage, and local Eagles supporters have promised to make their voices heard loud and clear during the matchup. Meanwhile, Cowboys fans are divided. Some cheer the boldness of Schottenheimer's words, seeing it as a display of confidence, while others worry that alienating a rival fan base could create an even more hostile environment for the team. Inside sources hint that the Cowboys' locker room is buzzing with anticipation and nerves alike. Players are reportedly aware of the media storm surrounding their coach's comments. and some are reportedly using the controversy as motivation to prove that their team can rise above the trash talk. Meanwhile, rival coaches are said to be quietly studying Schottenheimer's statements, wondering if they can use his provocations to fuel their own squads. What's certain is that this isn't just another game on the schedule. Schottenheimer's comments have added an extra layer of tension, turning the matchup into more than just a contest of skill. It's now a battle of pride, nerves, and ego. As the stadium prepares to host one of the most talked-about clashes of the season, fans on both sides are bracing for fireworks, both on and off the field. Whether this bold move by Schottenheimer will pay off or backfire remains to be seen, but one thing is undeniable. The rivalry just got even hotter. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.